Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Bo-chan.
I'm Nimacum.
I'm Van-chan.
In this class, I'll read all of you a part of Ulysses,
S.
L.
Ulysses, James Joyce, Chap, 16 Sec 2. I'll pay you back one time. Who's that with you? I saw him a few times in the Bleeding Horse in Kenton Street with Boylan. The bus sticker. You might put in a good word first to get me taken on there. I'd create a sandwich board, only the girl in the office told me they're full up. For the next 3 weeks. And odd. You've to book ahead. Mad? You think it was for the call, sir? I don't give a shite anyway so long as I get a job. Even as a crossing sweeper. Subsequently being now quite so down in the mouth after the 2 and 6C. Got he informed Stephen about a fellow by the name of Bags Comiskideti. Said Stephen knew well out of films. The Shipchin Lows. But keeper there that used to be off and round in Nichols back with Omar and a little chap with a stutter the name of Tig. Anyhow, he was lagged the night before last and fined 10 bob for a drunk. And disorderly and refusing to go with the constable. Mr. Bloom in the meanwhile kept dodging about in the vicinity of the cobblestones near the brazier of coke in front of the corporation watchman's cinderbox, who evidently a glutton. Foreworked. It struck him. Was having a quite pretty weeks for all intents and purposes on his own private account while the blind slept. He threw an odd eye at the same time now and then at Stephen's anything, but immaculately attired interlocutor, as if he had seen that nobleman somewhere or other, though where he was not in a position to truthfully state, nor had he the remotest idea when. Being a level-headed individual who could give points to not a few in point of shrewd observation, he also remarked on his very dilapidated hat and slouchy wearing apparel generally, testifying to chronic impecuniosity. Probably he was one of his Henderson, but for the matter of that it was merely a question of one preying on his next-door neighbour all round. In every deep, so deep it, a deeper depth than for the matter of that if the man in the street chanced to be in the dock himself, penal servitude with or without the option of, I find would be a very rare of us altogether. In any case, he had a consummate amount of cool assurance intercepting people at that hour of the night or morning. Pretty thick that was certainly. The pair parted company and Stephen rejoined Mr. Bloom, who, with his practised eye, was not without perceiving that he had succumbed to the blendiloquence of the other parasite. He is down on his luck. He asked me to ask you to ask somebody named Boylan, a bisticker, to give him a job as a sandwichman. Everybody gets their own ration of luck, they say. Now you mention it, his face was familiar to me. But leaving that for the moment, how much did you part with? He queried, if I am not too inquisitive. Half a crown, Stephen responded. I dare say you needed to sleep somewhere.
Needs.
Mr. Bloom ejaculated, professing not the least surprise at the intelligence. I can quite credit the assertion, and I guarantee he invariably does. Everyone according to his needs, or everyone according to his deeds. But, talking about things in general, well, added he with a smile, will you sleep yourself? Walking to Sandicove is out of the question. And even supposing you did, you won't get in after what occurred at Westland Row Station. Simply fag out there for nothing. I don't mean to presume to dictate to you in the slightest degree, but why? Did you leave your father's house? To seek misfortune, was Stephen's answer. I met your respected father on a recent occasion, Mr. Bloom diplomatically returned. Today, in fact. Or to be strictly accurate, on yesterday. Where does he live at present? I gathered in the course of conversation that he had moved. I believe he is in Dublin somewhere. Stephen answered unconcernedly. Why? A gifted man, Mr. Bloom said of Mr. Douglas Sr. In more respects than one, and a born raconteur if ever there was one. He takes great pride, quite legitimate, out of you. You could go back perhaps, he hazarded, still thinking of the very unpleasant scene at Westland Road Terminus when it was perfectly evident that the other two, Mulligan, that is, and that English tourist friend of his, who eventually eked their third companying, were patently trying as if the whole Bolly station belonged to them to give Stephen the slip in the confusion, which they did. There was no response forthcoming to the suggestion, however. Such as it was, Stephen's mind's eye being too busily engaged in repicturing his family half the last time. He saw it with his sister Dilly sitting by the Endley, her hair hanging down, waiting for some weak Trinidad chill cooker that was in the soup-coated kettle to be, then so that she and he could drink it with the oatmeal water from milk after. The Friday herrings they had eaten at to a penny with an egg apiece for Ade, Boody and Katie. The cat meanwhile under the mango devouring a mess of eggshells and charred fish heads, and bones on a square of brown paper, in accordance with the third precept of the church to fast and abstain on the days commended, it being quarter tense, or if not, ember days or something like that. No, Mr. Bloom repeated again. I wouldn't personally repose much trust in that boon companion of those who contributes the humorous element, Dr. Mulligan, as a guide, philosopher and friend if I were in your shoes. He knows which side his bread is buttered on, though in all probability he never realised what it is to be without regular meals. Of course you didn't notice as much as I did, but it wouldn't occasion me the least surprise to learn that a pinch of tobacco or some narcotic was put in your drink for some ulterior object. He understood, however, from all he heard that Dr. Mulligan was a versatile all-round man, by no means confined to medicine only, who was rapidly coming to the fore in his line end. If the report was verified, bade fair to enjoy a flourishing practice in the not-too-distant future as a Tony medical practitioner, drawing a handsome fee for his services in addition to which professional status his rescue of that man from certain drowning by artificial respiration and what they call first aid scurries. Or malahide was it? Well, he was bound to admit an exceedingly plucky deed which he could not too highly praise, so that frankly he was utterly at a loss to fathom what earthly reason could be at the back of it, except he put it down to sheer cussedness, or shall I say, pure and simple. Except it simply amounts to one thing, and he's what they call pecuniar brains. He ventured to throw out the guarded glance of half solicitude, half curiosity, augmented by friendliness, which he gave it. Stephen's present morose expression of features did not throw a flood of light, none at all in fact, on the problem as to whether he had lit himself. Be badly bamboozled to judge by 2 or 3 low-spirited remarks he let drop, or the other way about saw through the fair, and for some reason or other best known to himself allowed matters to more or less grinding poverty did have that effect, and he more than conjectured that, high educational abilities though he possessed, he experienced no little difficulty in making both ends meet. Adjacent to the men's public urinal they perceived in a supreme car rounded a group of presumably Italians in heated altercation were getting rid of voluble expressions in their vivacious language in a particularly animated way, there being some little differences between the parties. Up at Madonna, she said die quattrini. Ho ragion? Kilo rado? Intendimasi. Mezzo sovranope. Dicely. Or Meadow. Farbado. Mortaxi sui. Ma ascolta. Sinclatas to biff. Mr. Bloom and Stephen entered the cabman's shelter, a non-pretentious wooden structure. Well, prior to then, he had rarely, if ever, been before, the former having previously whispered to the latter a few incident the keeper of. It's said to be the once famous Skin the Goat Fitzharris, the Invincible, though he could not vouch for the actual facts, which quite possibly there was not one vestige of truth in. A few moments later saw our 2 noctambules safely seated in a discreet corner only, to be greeted by stares from the decidedly miscellaneous collection of waifs and strays, and other nondescript specimens of the genus Homo already there engaged in eating and drinking, diversified by conversation for whom they seemingly formed an object of marked curiosity. Now touching a cup of coffee, Mr. Bloom ventured to plausibly suggest to break the ice. It occurs to me you ought to sample something in the shape of solid food. A roll of some description. Accordingly, his first act was with characteristic sang-froid to order these commodities quietly. The hoi polloi of Jarvis or stevedores or whatever they were, after a cursory examination, turned their eyes apparently dissatisfied. Away though one red-birded bibulous individual, portion of whose hair was greyish, a sailor probably, Stoll stared for some appreciable time before transferring his rapt attention to the floor. Our beautiful language. I mean for singing purposes. Why do you not write your poetry in that language? Well, poetry. It is so melodious and full. Belladonna. Poblo. To fill the ear of a cow elephant. To be continued.